Okay, Rob, good to go.
Great. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. We'll call this meeting to order at 7:02. I hope and trust this finds everyone well and healthy. And of note, Austin, thank you, for everything you're doing on behalf of the entire town in the vaccination of both adults and children, and the role of Beach and Rec in supporting that. So we're going to get started. The first order of business is a Pledge of Allegiance. And Pam, because you've just shown up on my screen, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance tonight?
Should we stand?
I am standing, but I think you can do whatever you'd like to do.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great job, Pam. Thank you very much.
first.
You're welcome.
Next order of business will be the approval of the December minutes. And thank you, MP, for chairing that meeting as I was away on business. At this time, the chair will entertain an approval of the minutes. After a second, we'll make any addendums or changes that are needed. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the December meeting?
I'll move to approve the December meeting minutes.
Thank you, Pam.
I'll
Is there a
second it.
second? Thank you, Vince. Are there any comments or adjustments that need to be made to the minutes? Hearing none. Kristen, thank you so much for preparing these. All in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Great. Excellent. Thank you very much. The next order is public comments. Do we have any public comments for this evening? Okay.
No.
Okay, with no public comments, we will move on. Because we are on YouTube, I'm going to reference the survey results, a couple highlights. We do have this on the agenda to speak to that. So bear with me if you haven't had a chance to do it, but for the benefit of the public, just a couple observations. Based on the age and the demographics, 53% of those that participated in the study were between age 40 and 59. And then including that age 50 to 59 plus 60 to 70, that was 51%. So a large volume of participation between age 40 and 70. Interestingly, 54% of participants lived in Madison between 5 and 30 years, with the majority participating at about 19% were between 21 and 30 years. Members in household, this is interesting, 36% have between 4 and 5 currently living in the household, but 41% took the lead with only 2 living in the home. Of facilities used most often, it was the Surf Club with 86%, with East Wharf at 54%, and then West Wharf at 36% and Bower Park at 27%. How often do you use facilities by Beach and Rec Department? I'm sorry.
I just want to point out that that distribution is almost exactly the same as it was last time we did the survey. And a couple of people did ask that next time we add to that list the town campus gym.
Oh, that's a great point. I thought that might have been on there. Okay. Thank you, MP. As far as facilities, how often do you use facilities being managed? 18% said daily, and I call that out because 60% said weekly, but I think close to 20% of the respondents, or 86, are using it daily. So that's an important piece to
That's
attend to.
also pretty much exactly as it was the last time we asked.
Mhm. MP, you've done a better job comparing than I have, so thank you for that. So keep it coming, please. How often do you use programs managed by Beach and Rec Department? 1 to 2 times per year was about 23%. And then when you combine that 1 to 5 times a year, it's about 50% when you add that together. I wonder how much of that is people realizing how much Beach and Rec is actually managing based on some of the events they attend, including the concerts. Overall satisfaction, I just want to confirm this on a scale of 1 to 5. 5 was the best. MP, is that correct? I was looking at the survey.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure because
I sure hope so.
yeah.
Everyone take a deep breath now.
I think I think Scott had done a great job. Austin, you've only elevated that. I think the communication, MP, you've been a big champion of getting the word out on what the department and the commission does. 75% combined between scores 4 and 5. So very satisfied. So that's great for services.
Previously, that was 60% at a 3 or 4. So we really did show improvement.
Mhm.
And yes, I want to note that that's a combination of everybody's efforts. Scott, Linda, Barbara, Carrie,
Mhm.
Austin, Matt, everybody who's in there now and, the last 2 years.
And has been, yeah.
Truly a team effort.
100%. Please rate the level of customer service. Again, when you combine scores of number 4 and 5, 72% were very satisfied in that category. So again, great job. MP, do you happen to know where we were at?
53 last time.
That's great. That's great. Question 11, how do you rate the programming provided by the Beach and Rec? Again, scoring a 4 or 5, 70%, approximately 70%. MP, how do we do?
71% last time at 3 or 4.
Wow. Okay, great. Great. And then how do you rate the effectiveness of communication? And that was a key area, of the last survey, increasing programming, communication, and then obviously the parking at the beach. Those were 3 strategic areas we focus on. So communication, when you combine answered at a 4 or 5 for very satisfied, 34% answered in 4 and 26% answered at 5. So about a 60% in communication. How do we do, MP, versus last time?
I don't have that exact number, but I do know that last time most people asked for an increase in email communication, which we have. And I don't know, did you guys get that newsletter that came out probably last month? That was a new thing sent out to all Beach and Rec enrollees, I believe, Austin.
Yeah, we've been doing that for a few months now.
Yeah, so that's
like
a
every
really
couple of weeks.
great step in the right direction as well. I thought that looked really nice.
Yeah, Matt was able to figure out a way to make that happen, which was, we've gotten a good response from that.
Yeah.
As well.
seems
It's
like-
a great way to communicate to
Yeah.
the entire enrollment list.
And very much in line with some of the comments that people were asking to see. So perfect timing on that.
Great. And then the last one, again, I didn't go over every question, just highlighted a few. How do you rate the quality and maintenance of our beach and recreation facilities? And again, scoring a 4 or 5 at 36 and 37%. So combined about a 73%, very satisfied, which is just, again, making all the parts work, Austin, and capping it off with the maintenance team. Just really job well done. So MP, any comments on that relative to last year?
I just wanted to drop back to the website experience. This round, people, 36-37% people give it a 4 or 5, which may seem low, but on the previous one, 30% of the respondents gave it a 1. And based on that, we did move forward on changing the user interface. And so it's headed in the right direction. There's still a lot of comments about the search function being difficult. So that's worth a little fine tuning, but I think it's pretty clear that changing the interface as they did right after that last survey made a difference.
That's a great call out. I kind of lump that into the beach, and I kind of the beach in the past, and going online was a huge move. And so it's a great call out. So anyways, I wanted to put that in just as a matter of record because this is going to be recorded on YouTube. We can get these exact numbers over to you, Kristen. But that's all I have for the director's report. We can have some time to discuss the survey. MP, again, thank you for having the baseline numbers at your fingertips. With that, our next order of business is election of officers. The way this works is we entertain a motion for a nominee for chair. And then if that's approved, we'll move on to vice chair. We do not have an elected secretary. We have fortunate to have Kristen take care of our minutes. So at this point, the chair will entertain a motion for the election of chair of the Beach Commission. Pam's on mute. Maybe that's by design.
You know, we really didn't have a chance to talk about this last month. And assuming, Rob, that you are willing to continue in the role of chair, I would be happy to nominate you as chair of the Beach and Rec Commission.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Vince. So we have a second. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? I think I have to recuse myself. Can I vote for myself? I don't think I can, right?
Well, it's just the three of us.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great, thank you. And the next is the chair will entertain a motion for the election of the vice chair.
I think I'd like to nominate MP for vice chair. I think she's done a good, when you're absent, Rob.
Yep.
Has done a great job in the past, so.
A great job. I will second that.
I was going to say, I'm happy to second that as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Thank you, everyone. Old business.
You got my name right.
Sailing program. That's you, Vince.
Okay.
Just as we kick it off, listen, I just have to say, Vince, I think you've done a really nice job of surfacing an issue and actually owning it, which is, we're grateful for that. So let's hear an update. Where are we at?
Well, really, outside of the minutes that Austin put together, there really isn't much of an update since the last meeting. I mean, Austin and I talked, discussed, where we both were on the program, and I think we left with a handshake that we wanted to continue on looking at the program, that it was a worthwhile program for our young sailing public, for the youth in Madison, and that basically we had someone, Mr. Sherry, Mark Sherry, who was the coach of the hand sailing team, came down and looked at the boats, suggested that we turn them over, winterize them, and take care of them for next year. And I think we had 9 catamarans and 9 sailboats. Austin, is that correct? And I think we got, as you pointed out the last time, I think we also got a gift of 2 sailboats. So we increased our fleet.
Correct.
So I don't know where it stands in terms of winterizing or turning the boats over, but I think, we were gonna do that. And in any event, several students have the main thrust of our discussion was we have the equipment, we have the wherewithal to do it. We need to find someone that we all can feel comfortable with, putting our grandchildren and our children out on the water with this person, and just feeling very comfortable about that and confident that that's going to be taken care of. So that's what we're looking at right now. And I think it's, I guess several folks have come forward who wanted to participate in the program. And I'm kind of at a loss, so I'm going to kind of ask for Austin's guidance on this in terms of what that person looks like, what the specs would be, what the job description would be, how much we're willing to pay, et cetera. So, the ball is kind of in your court, I guess. And I think that's where we left it at the last meeting. correct?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think our next step would be for Vince and I to get together again and determine
Okay.
like a job description almost, for us to compile, and then, begin the search for that individual, whether it's an individual person or a company or an organization that wants to run the program. But I think that's the logical next step, is to develop a job description. I think we could do that over the course of one meeting, and then really start the push come February 1st to locate that individual.
Great.
So-
Austin,
On that note, did you get any feedback on that Greenwich PP, whatever it is, PPR?
I don't believe
Sorry.
they found anybody.
Yeah,
But that's another option that we could do as well.
okay.
Pam, you had a question?
Well, I was just wondering if Austin had followed up on the RFP, and based on what he presented to us at the last meeting at Greenwich. And I guess I think that the state has certain requirements for water safety and boat safety and licensing for this type of a program. And I just want to make sure that we look into those as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So Austin, to that point, and
Point.
this is where I'm not going to overstep my boundaries. We don't want to do that as a commission. If you as the director say we want to do this, then you obviously have, that's in your purview to do that. At what point does a commission even need to be made aware of policy procedures, operating costs, liability, asset management, and the director job description? Because we're not asking for that for any other department. And, we're not asking for but I think this is where the commission or myself, I'm asking more questions than we need. How do we give you the space or the support to run with this? How do we do this?
So I think this is a special program, one that, took, I think it's been 2 years at least, that it hasn't happened. And, we've had a sailing program for, dozens, if not multiple decades at Beach and Rec in town. And, I think me reporting back to you along with Vince, about this because it's a big program, it's a big, it is a liability, and it's something that, I think the public wants. So I think reporting back until we figure out what we're doing, and have a solid plan to move forward or not, I think a monthly report back is prudent, and Vince and I will continue to do that.
Does it make sense to ask Mr. Sherry or the Greenwich Sailing Department, or, I know the budget's tight, but do we have a fee for consultation to allow someone to come back and say, this is what would be required? I mean, otherwise, during your day job, you have to do this. I got permission from the Greenwich Parks and Recreation Director to use their RFP. So we can, scale that to our needs and use it as we see fit. So I know Vince has a copy of that, so we can
Right.
review that in the next couple of weeks and put our terminology and verbiage in that and send it. It can't hurt to send that out. I mean, we're not held to anything unless we sign a contract, so we can go out to RFP for people to submit proposals for anything. And I think it can't hurt to see what's out there, as well as looking for an individual. But to put an RFP out there for a group, it can't hurt.
Last question, I promise, Austin. Is your goal to have a go, no-go for a summer program this year, or do you anticipate that this is going to take longer than that?
I think it depends how successful we are in finding someone. If we can find the right person and we're all comfortable with that, or the right organization, then I don't see why we couldn't start one come July. But if it takes us a year to do it, I'm not going to give up. I think it's worth the effort to figure this out. Whether it happens this summer or next, I think it's the right thing to figure out.
Great.
There's a lot of Madison, just to pick up what Austin's saying, there's a lot of Madison youth that is interested in this kind of program. I mean, even folks that have been in the sailing program, prior years have evidenced and said, I can't believe we don't have a program kind of thing. So I think it's up to us to kind of, as you like to say, drill down on this and get answers to the questions and find out where we are and where we can go. And just, for the Madison public's standpoint, saying, listen, this is what we tried to do. This is what we're trying to do. We're not neglecting your needs. We're trying to put this together. We understand that you want this, but we want to do it the right way. So I think Austin and I are right on, simpatico, as they say. In my
Good. Excellent. Well, thank you both. Okay, if there's no other discussion on the sailing program update, we'll move into new business, which is Austin and the director's report. We'll turn it over to you, Austin.
Thanks, Rob. So as MP brought up before, I had in my notes to talk about the newsletter that we've been sending out. Matt did a fine job figuring out how to use RecTrack to do a newsletter. And it's been met with rave reviews from our clientele. It's a great way to communicate on an as-needed basis with folks. So it's not monthly. It could be, I think we've done a couple in the past couple of weeks for COVID-related things. But it's, every other week to send out a communication to our clientele with upcoming events, highlights, news that we want to get across to them. Is important to in our communication efforts. And, Matt did a great job in figuring out how to use what we already have to send out this newsletter. So good for him for doing that. As we were talking about before we came on air, briefly before, today the entire department was involved in distributing the COVID at-home test kits. So our grounds crew has been working. They're probably just got off since 11 o'clock this morning, distributing kits, as well as Matt and Heather from Senior Services, myself, DPW also participated, and we had a couple members of the public as well. It went as good as it could have possibly gone. No hiccups, no issues at all. So thanks to all that crew for doing that. And our Fire Marshal, Sam DeBura, and Trent, our health director, were instrumental in putting that together. So we'll be doing that again tomorrow. And so you got 2 test kits and 4 masks, N95 masks per household. And we are also doing a 65 and over mask and test kit pickup here at the senior center later on this week. So hopefully everyone who wanted one will have access to one. If not, if we do have other test kit distribution dates, we will get that out to the public as well.
Austin, if we get calls in the town clerk's office, can we direct people to the senior center for the?
Yes,
that
if they're
timing?
65 or over, yes. If not, I would direct them to the health department or emergency services, Sam DeBura's department.
Okay, thank you.
But just for the folks,
So
Austin, real quickly, for those
Sorry,
listening, so they don't go to the senior center to get these kits anymore? They have to go through.
So today, which is Tuesday, January 4th, and tomorrow, Wednesday, January 5th, you had to sign up via the registration system to pick them up at the surf club at your scheduled time that you were scheduled for. If you were a senior over the age of 65 and did not participate or weren't able to get access to kits via that system, we have a limited number of kits available here at the senior center that we will hand out or deliver to homebound folks later on this week.
Thanks for repeating that, Austin.
Sure. So in terms of programming, programs are on per normal. You know, COVID has, as of a few hours ago, we had a couple participants in our rec basketball league tested positive. So Matt is working on, you know, contacting everyone and letting them know what the policies and guidelines are for them to return and all that. So it's you know, the numbers are high. Everybody sees that on the news. And when we last met, there were plans by the CIAC and CDC of Connecticut to allow athletics to be participated in without a mask if you were vaccinated. That was supposed to start, I'm blanking now,
24th?
January 3rd, sorry, 23rd, December 23rd, thank you. And that is no longer happening. So no matter your vaccination status, everyone participating in any recreational sports, so anything that we're hosting, still requires a mask, regardless of vaccination status or sport that you're participating in. So that's kind of where we stand. I'm sure things will be changing. Everything is fluid, and you know, working with our health department, getting guidance from the Department of Public Health, CDC, CIAC. You know, when things do change, we'll inform everyone, and we'll take it from there. Thankfully, I have no incidents to report on, so we can move past that, which is nice. Project updates. If you've driven by Salt Meadow lately, the pavilion is under construction. The foundation was poured. All of the footings are in, and I haven't been down there today, but the actual erecting of the pavilion is happening any day now. So that's exciting. Our grounds guys, who are great at rebuilding and painting and doing all those kinds of things to our facilities, are rebuilding and fixing and making our gate guard huts look nice. So they're good to go come May. They are also redoing the East Wharf gazebo. So all the railings will get new wood, all the rotted areas are being taken care of. So that's an exciting project, because if you go down to East Wharf, that gazebo is beautiful and people use it a lot. And there were some areas that were rotting and like disconnected from each other. So that's all being taken care of over the winter. So East Wharf, West Wharf gate guard huts, the gazebo, the pavilion. We are still waiting on the kickoff of the construction of the Bauer Park walkway. It was awarded. Now we're just waiting on the contractor to get started on that.
That was a grant
Academy
from
School
the
update?
Bauer Foundation? Or,
No, that was a state
State
grant
grant?
that we were given. Yeah. Yep.
awesome.
As far as Academy School, the last public information session takes place tomorrow at 7 p.m. on Zoom. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday, January 5th on Zoom. Am I saying the right dates? Is today I don't even know
Yeah,
what's
it's
today.
tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be on Zoom, 7 o'clock. So if anyone is interested in hearing the Academy School report, you'll be able to tune in. And then there's some silent periods that begin after that. I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns or comments anybody has. I know Vince sent me a nice email yesterday or this morning. We replaced the pickleball tape that's on the town campus gym, changed it out to a different color so it's more easily visible to the players. So Vince, any feedback from the crew on how that is?
Everybody's very, very happy. You know, it's interesting. I think just with that cosmetic effect, there's been less complaints about the floor. You know, I don't think you did anything on the floor, but yet, you know, there's less complaints. I mean, we still have some problems, as you know, but there's been less complaints. Folks have been very, very pleased with the change. So yes, outstanding.
Any other concerns or questions or anything? Anybody heard any public complaints or?
Hopefully this is a quiet season for you. No, doesn't exist.
No. So we're in budget season, so that those meetings are starting. Yeah, there's no real quiet time, come to find
No.
out. So no. But that's good. I like staying busy and yeah, things are going well in the office. Programs are going, which is great. Nice to get things back up in action and get people participating. Open gym. That's one of the things that's changed from our last meeting. We now have youth, adult, and teen open gym daily. So those schedules are on our website, and we're selling the gym passes now, and the fitness room is open as well. So that's back in action. So we're pretty much full strength in terms of programming and facilities, which is good. People, it was a nice, a welcome addition to have those things come back and get people back in the gym and participating. And open gym, the first day was just loaded with kids coming in to get their passes and playing basketball with their friends after school. That's what it's all about. So happy to have that return.
That's great. Well, good. Well, thank you, Austin. It's been a great first half of the year, and I think the survey speaks volumes. Do you have plans as we get into the discussion on the survey results? We'll switch over here a little bit. Have you had a chance to review the results with your department, or are there plans to do that, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so once, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Rob and MP and myself will get together to sort of compile the survey and compare it to the last one. And then once we do that, and I have a format to show the staff, then yes, we'll review that with them and, set a plan. So it's not just facts and figures on a piece of paper, but there's actionable things that we can do to improve and, get on to the fact that there's things that we can improve on, and it'll give us a way to move forward and have all the staff involved with that.
Okay.
I think that you'll find that it does fall into some very clear, actionable categories, and a bunch of things that were in the pre-response sections you've just mentioned taken care of already. So I think you've already taken steps to handle some of the concerns, and the rest of them should be able to form a good plan.
So let's do this. for our discussion on the survey, it's almost 20 of 8. Why don't we block off the next 20 minutes to have an open discussion if we need that time? To kind of call out any areas that you saw that stood out. Maybe we can arrive at what we did last time, which was helping arrive at those top 3 or 4 areas. I know last time there was a communication that was drafted, MP, you took the lead on that, and how we'll communicate. So there's a couple of things that we could talk about, but why don't we do that now? And maybe to start the discussion, MP, you just made mention that you've picked up on a couple areas and themes. Maybe we talk about that for a little bit, and then we can talk a little bit about any recommendations on when and how we want to make sure we get a communication out to the public. So MP, anything that you want to start the discussion with?
Sure. The first section I have on the top of my stack is the customer service free responses. There were 38 positive comments, like, keep up the good work. The staff is always helpful for me. So that was really nice to see. Couple of the main comments was improving the search function on the website, responding in a timely fashion to emails, which I take to be on an individual basis with questions. Make sure the voicemail message in the office is accurate and up to date. And then email updates when programs open, when there are new offerings and stuff, which, Matt has already discovered a way to address that with the newsletter. So that's awesome. And then I guess the, aim high goal is, a couple of people asked if there could be an app to register instead of the website. But I'm sure that's like a gold star objective. Maybe, in the next couple of years down the line, that option would be available. But the customer service aspects were pretty good. Yeah, they're very customer oriented to all my students. That was from an instructor. And there were a couple bring back the sailing classes.
Really?
So that was the customer service aspect.
Okay, that's great
Austin,
feedback.
Do you have thoughts about that?
Yeah, so, I think one of my goals when I first started in July was to backtrack. I think our customer service at the senior center is great. And I think moving towards that at Beach and Rec, I think the customer service at Beach and Rec is great as well. There's always ways that we can improve, and until we get all 10s or all 5s for customer service, we have to look into ways to improving that. So it's hard living the day-to-day life at Beach and Rec and thinking that our customer service is great. So being able to step back and see how really our customers feel is the reason why we do surveys like that. So yeah, there has to be, hopefully when we review the actual word for word feedback, some actionable items hopefully will come out of that. That will make the next round of surveys even better. But I think some of the points that I took out of just reading the comments, a lot of comments on bathrooms. So in the CIP, as we reviewed last month or the month before, we have East Wharf, West Wharf bathrooms in the CIP, as well as Rockland. So as long as those get approved, we will have improved bathrooms at our facilities, which, there were quite a few responses that focused on bathrooms. So I think the more we can move away from, and the bathrooms we're going with will help us move away from porta potties in the winter time because they're waterless and won't require us to winterize them. Which nobody likes to use a porta potty. So if we can move away from that, get these new bathrooms up and going, I think that will relieve a lot of stress from all of our facility users. Another, I think, actionable item was chutes on garbage cans. I don't know if any, I'm sure you've all had dinner down at the surf club at one point or another. The seagulls are out of control down there. If you look the other way, your food will be taken in 2 seconds, or they go to the garbage cans and ransack them. So having chutes, somebody recommended having chutes on the garbage cans near the concession where people put food mostly. That seems like a very simple fix that we could do. But I think, I've said this probably since July, and there were a lot of comments about litter. I think we need to do some kind of a public education about owning a public park and taking pride in our facilities and not littering. It's everybody's job to keep the facility looking nice. And when it's overrun with water bottles just thrown everywhere and food and garbage left out, it's difficult to keep up with that. And people use the facilities early in the morning after Beach and Rec staff have left at night, and it gets destroyed. And then people come in and expect it to look perfect at 6:30 in the morning. That takes a community effort and people to really care and understand that litter, shouldn't happen at the parks. We're right next to Long Island Sound, and no one wants the litter to get into Long Island Sound. So, those are 3 things I think we can work on to improve all of our facilities and parks. Bathrooms, garbage cans, and getting rid of some of the litter, and sort of just educational type things for our clientele. Those are three takeaways I had from at least the comment section.
Yeah, and the facilities aspect of it, definitely those things. Maybe once we talked about handing out garbage bags at the gates.
Someone had
on,
made a
like, maybe
suggestion.
Earth Day or on the first day of the
We
season.
did that July 4th.
4th of July, yeah.
July 4th weekend, we did that. Yeah.
Do you think that was helpful? Or did the garbage
didn't
bags
hurt.
end up in the water as well?
No, I think it helps on those busy weekends like that.
Yeah,
It definitely helps to do that.
yeah.
Austin, do you have a strategy for some kind of public communication or education campaign for litter? Are you thinking signage, or how would you go about that?
I don't like signage, but I think it just takes up space and it's not really read probably.
Definitely.
But I think, anytime we communicate, maybe something on our website, any communication we put out there, just a mention of it, reaching out to all the youth sports organizations and having them push it through their students and their athletes. I think that will be effective. I don't know who does the most littering, but when we see dugouts and soccer fields littered with things, I think just community education, that will need a plan, and I'll have to work on that before summer season kicks off.
Maybe an
You know-
insert, like a quarter sheet when the beach passes go out.
Hmm.
You know, pack
Okay.
in, pack out. This is everybody's park. We, you know, we all want to pitch in, use the dumpsters, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Austin, I think you're onto a bigger theme here that we need to probably consider and take some more time. I think with the work that's been done with the second survey, the improvements that have been made, I think communication is improved. There's a general courtesy, you know, of, you know, how people view. I mean, we've all heard and have had the experience of, you know, I want access, I want to do this, these are my tax dollars, I want this. And I think at the same time, we talk about the customer, which is the resident. And I think about your staff. And if there's a newsletter that goes out, you know, we need to promote an employee of the month, not necessarily based on an award, but just get to know it. People need to understand that the person who's picking up your trash lives here, frequents here. They love this town, they're paid for it. You know, the person that's asking you not to park there because it's handicapped is someone who's looking out for someone who's handicapped. So, and the trash and the litter and how do we do that? I think there's a way to share everything that Beach and Rec is doing to improve and how people can be part of that. And I think that's something that we can get behind and support you on. I mean, your staff just
Yeah.
continues to deliver, and I think it's about a genuine courtesy across back and forth. I don't know how we do that, but I think that it would be great if we could.
It would be interesting to add, you know, profiles with their permission, of course, because
Yeah.
like you said, Austin, the guys down in the maintenance department or down by the surf club, they're like building stuff. Like they're craftsmen and they do a great job. I watched them put in the paneling and the chair railing in the room in the surf club. They're real good. They know what they're doing. And that would be kind of neat for people to learn about.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic idea.
MP, I don't think enough, you know, I don't, yeah, just hearing what Beach and Rec got together for today and to hand out test kits and masks. I mean, you know, Beach and Rec is, you know, outside of the Department of Education, it's a pretty large staff and it's a pretty large budget and they touch a lot in the community. So maybe as a takeaway is with this newsletter, it's a employee profile. And then maybe we get some type of campaign around, you know, courtesy for community. And it's just, you know, how do you give it back? Okay. We got 10 minutes left. And again, well, this is not a one-time discussion on the survey. I think customer service MP, you hit on some great points. Austin, you brought up some key areas around that specifically. Anyone have anything else relative to the survey that they read about or that stood out to them that they want to put on the table?
The only other pre-response section was suggested programs, and that's a pretty rich source for ideas based on what people want. But I just want to point out that a lot of the suggested programs would be really facilitated to be added by use of the Academy building as a community center. Baking classes were suggested, that there's space there. Ceramics, you know, our current spaces probably make that impossible, but having more room that could be a permanent facility in a community center really expands the usable space for things that need permanent structures, or a photography studio. Those were a lot of suggestions. So just something to think about.
Yeah, well, MP, I'm trying to think how we take action on that. Like, how do we get that at our last public hearing, just to say, you know, the recommendations to the survey included just the list of items. I mean, we don't need to really do anything other than submit the list. I mean, we have no place to do any of those things, but we would if we had a community center.
So I did bring that up at the last public information session. Some of the survey responses and things that we could do if we had Academy. But I can't do that tomorrow. I'll be speaking again tomorrow, so I could mention that again.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to think if that was an Excel file or a PDF that it came in, but if there's just a simple way to take all the suggested programs and just put that on record to say, these are things that people are asking for that we need to facilitate and need space for it. Great suggestion. Okay. So we'll work through the month of January to collect this information. Is there anyone that would like to take point on, as Austin said, how do you have a format that's more than just numbers, but actually speaks to that? Is there anyone that wants to take lead on drafting a summary of this?
I can do that. I'm like halfway there anyway.
Awesome. Thanks, MP. You did a great job last year, and I think you've got the template. And then I think, really as a commission, we probably want to narrow in, not tonight, but I think we've surfaced customer service. There's some communication opportunity, and maybe MP, based on your summary, you can make a recommendation of what might be the things that we choose to focus on this year. 2 or 3 things like we did with going live with the Beach Pass system, or maybe an app. That would be monumental.
You need a solid teenager to do that for you.
Exactly. Well, they could probably do that. So what we'll plan to do is for our meeting in February, we'll have a draft summary with 2 or 3 or 5. There's no perfect number of where we might want to focus. And then that's really up for Austin to take that and say, what can he implement, and we can go from there. If you guys have any comments or you want to have some more input, I think you should feel very comfortable sharing with MP or picking up the phone and chatting with her and just saying, let's make sure these areas are on here. And we'll come back as a group and we'll talk about it, and we'll say that we acknowledge that these are areas of priority for us. I think that's about it on the survey for now. I appreciate everyone's feedback. Pam, you sat there patiently and quietly. Is there anything that you want to add relative to the survey? You're good?
I'm very good, thank you.
All right, we heard from you, Vince, so we're good. Well, with that, I think we've completed all our agenda items. With that, the chair.
Rob, if we
comments,
could,
I'm sorry.
Joe Oslander's here from Rockland. Could we offer him a minute?
Joe, I apologize. I was looking at adjournment. My apologies, sir. Yes, by all means, please go ahead, Joe.
Okay, thank you. Generally, this is the time of the year when things are kind of on the quiet side because of the weather and kids are back in school and all those kinds of things. But there are a couple of things that have occurred in the last 2 weeks. And one is Jason Engelhardt, who's a math teacher at the high school, who's also very involved with the building of the 18 miles plus of single track bike trails at Rockland. Has also been the master of building the official Rockland trail map. The last one being done in 2019. We had this past summer a request by the Connecticut Forest and Park Association, the Blue Trail people, the Net Trail, the trail that goes from the waterhead in Guilford to New Hampshire, 200 miles. That's a national scenic trail, and we are one of the only places in the state of Connecticut where there is a campground for those who are hiking that trail could stay overnight. And I will in a few minutes give you a little bit more information about that. But Jason and I just recently walked the trail that was revised by the Connecticut Forest and Park people this summer. It's about a mile plus in length. It's at the very north end of the property at Pool Road. And what we were doing was we were going with, Jason had his phone and a GPS set up so that he would be able to take and transfer the information that he was getting from our walk to the new map that he will be making between now and sometime this spring, we hope. So that was one of the things that was going on. It's a very interesting hiker's trail. It's not for bikes. And it goes by a couple old sites where there was charcoal made years ago. There is one lengthy ledge that's probably 15 feet high and maybe 100 and some feet long that you walk right along. So it is quite impressive. So that was one of the things that happened. And there is an organization, and I think Austin was contacted by the Connecticut Trail Finder program. And this is a program that wants to get from the individual towns their maps on their trails so that they can be publicized in such a way that people can from anywhere in the state of Connecticut could look it up and could find the trails and be able to hike the trails. So it's very important that this project that Jason's working on right now is completed so that that can happen this coming year. So that's that part. The other is we have a new member of our committee, Cecily Barron, who lives very close by at Rockland and is very interested in pollinator garden habitat. And she is working very closely with the people in the town. And she just went through and I attended the meeting where she invited the Conservation Commission members. I think there were 4 of them there. Heather Crawford, who's the chair of that, she was on the Rockland Preserve Committee years ago, so she's very familiar with Rockland. We went down to the site where the pollinator garden will be proposed and work begin either late fall or the following year. But one of the things that came out of that meeting, and this is one of the things that's so important about this leadership, is that the suggestion was made to have a controlled burn this spring so that it would help clear a lot of the invasives that are still around after all the work that's been going on there, to get it cleared so that a potential for the garden can happen in the near future. So we are now going to have to turn to the North Madison Fire Department and see if they will do another controlled burn. They've done several in the past at Rockland, but not in this particular area. This is the same area that we had volunteers from the University of Quinnipiac University to come out and help with the clearing of the area about a month or so ago. And there is still an interest by the leader to come back in the spring and help us again. So these are a couple of important projects that are happening. One of the things that I'll just quickly cover for you is we have at Rockland something called the Godman Organized Youth Campsite. This is the campsite that is also used by the hiker who is doing the Blue Trail that I just mentioned a few minutes ago. So to get permits, people actually apply through the Connecticut Forest and Park Association because they are the people who have the Blue Trail. They're the organizers of it. So they start with them. They send to the Beach and Rec Department to look at the permit that is being requested for an overnight. And this year we had 57 permits that were issued for hikers. And of that, there were 64 camp days spent. Now we're looking at, basically from May to probably sometime in September. 33 campers. The Boy Scouts, which is one of the major reasons why we have the campsite there, have used the campsite at least 3 times this year for various programs, including a traditional Thanksgiving. There were 16 requests for permits from out-of-staters. There was one, I don't know how he found out about us, but it was from Arizona. So we've had them from Virginia all the way up into New Hampshire requesting permits to come to Rockland. The 3 months that were probably the busiest was May with 9 permits, June with 10, and October with 11. And our program is such that we only allow one camper or one campsite being used at a time. So we will not have 2 different families there or 2 different groups there at a time. So that's quite an accomplishment, and it's been working out quite well, and we hope to keep it going in this way. But there are things that we don't have at Rockland up there that would be very nice to have. And Austin mentioned earlier is the solar panel type of latrine. And the other thing that would be wonderful in the future is a well. There are 2 wells on the property, but the property is 650 acres, square mile. And those 2 wells are at the north end, or the north. One is closer to Route 79 entrance, but the other one is really way up in the back. So, and those wells, some of those, I think one of those wells is 500 feet deep. All right, that's about it. Any questions? Take care of them.
Joe, this was a great update. I apologize. There were no comments up front, so I thought maybe you were just here because you were just generally enjoying a night with Beach and Rec.
Well, that's true too.
Anytime you want to be on the agenda, we can put you in under the director's report. You don't have to wait till the end, but this was really great. And I think continue to work with Austin, and when Austin and I meet, we'll follow up on these 2 things around certainly the well, but it sounds like the solar panel restroom is something that I know the restroom is in process, but thank you for the update, and please keep us posted and let us know how we can support you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, that's it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Vince. All in favor?